This is KGW News at 5.
We begin with breaking news here at 5 o'clock. Former Portland Mayor Bud Clark has died. That's according to the Oregonian. Clark served as mayor from 1985 to 1992. Before his election, he had never run for public office. Clark was also known for his colorful personality. He had a signature whoop whoop greeting, rode his bike to work, and was featured in a well-known poster titled "Expose Yourself to Art" before he became mayor. He also opened Portland's historic Goose Hollow Inn in 1967. Clark was 90 years old. In the pandemic, it's a big step toward allowing the youngest Americans to get the COVID vaccine. Today, Pfizer asked the FDA to authorize extra low doses of its vaccine for kids younger than 5. If the FDA agrees, Pfizer COVID vaccines with 1/10 of the normal dose could be given to children as young as 6 months. They could start receiving shots by early March. Here in Oregon, efforts are underway to bolster the state's response to the Omicron surge. Providence Portland Medical Center has teamed up with the OHA to open a new emergency health center. The temporary unit has 48 beds, and the goal is to increase Oregon's hospital capacity for COVID patients.
We certainly have seen a surge in hospitalizations. We are similar, I think, in kind of where we were with Delta, but the early forecasting indicated we really should prepare for a significant surge, even more than Delta. We are hopeful that that's starting to level off.
The new emergency center started caring for patients today. This week, the Alsea School District is back in class in person for the first time since it decided to make masks optional. Under a new policy, students and staff can choose whether to mask up. Superintendent Mark Thielman says he supports the ability to choose. Not everyone is on board, though.
I'm disappointed. I feel like it's really unfair to put the kids in this position where some have to choose and some are not, depending on their family circumstances.
Some parents who did not want to go on camera did say they're happy their kids can now choose. The district has already received one fine for mask violations and several complaints. Thielman says they plan to fight any fine that comes their way. He is also running for Oregon governor as a Republican. A grieving family and Vancouver Police Department are getting help from a foundation after an officer was killed this weekend. Our Galen Etlin has followed the story for days now and joins us live with an update. Galen?
Yes, Laurel, this case is getting so much attention, as you can imagine, because of just how unusual it is. A robbery and police chase led to a deputy from Clark County mistakenly shooting and killing a Vancouver officer who was off duty outside that officer's own home. And now a lot of people are reaching out to help. Vancouver Police Department is mourning Officer Donald Sahota.
The loss of an officer is so substantial, and this department has never lost an officer.
Brian Johnston is a former police sergeant and current executive director of the Behind the Badge Foundation, a Washington nonprofit that honors fallen or injured law enforcement officers.
Probably what will be the most traumatic thing that they have ever dealt with.
Johnston got the call late at night this past weekend.
A drop in my stomach and a lot of tears to begin with. Significantly traumatic based on the circumstance.
It started at this Vancouver convenience store on Northeast 117th, just after 8 o'clock Saturday night. Investigators say Julio Cesar Segura of Yakima robbed a clerk and took off north. He ended up outside off-duty officer Donald Sahota's home in Ridgefield. Sahota and Segura got into a fight. Segura admitted to investigators he used a knife to repeatedly stab Sahota and believed that he had killed the officer. By this point, Officer Sahota's wife inside the home had alerted 911 that her husband was an armed officer outside. Clark County deputies arrived, and documents say Segura fled into the residence. Sahota stood up, grabbed the pistol, and pursued Segura. Within seconds of arriving, one of the responding deputies fired shots, striking Officer Sahota. Segura then surrendered, and responders realized they shot the wrong person. They tried to revive Officer Sahota, who died.
This family has witnessed this up front and personal.
Johnston is now working with VPD to organize a service honoring Officer Sahota. Behind the Badge raises money for families, but also provides emotional support for loved ones and coworkers.
Extremely grieving department and a very wonderful group of people that are hurting, and they're still out there working.
Julio Cesar Segura appeared in Clark County Court Monday, charged with attempted murder, robbery, burglary, assault, stealing a car, and running from police. He's being held on $5 million bail. In the meantime, Vancouver remembers a husband and father, and a community reaches out to help.
As they are navigating the days, weeks, months, and even the years to come.
Such a tough story. Now, Behind the Badge does hope to have a memorial service for Officer Sahota very soon, but we do not have a date confirmed just yet. In the meantime, we do have some new information confirmed tonight that we were waiting on yesterday from the Clark County Medical Examiner about Sahota's cause of death. It is, in fact, from that shooting and not the stabbing. Back to you.
Well, Galen, it is comforting to know that the family and the department are getting so much support. Thank you. Theft is a huge problem in the city of Portland, and a local veteran found that out firsthand after his trailer was stolen right off his car at the Home Depot parking lot. KGW's Brian Clerkley spoke with the man, and Brian, he's desperate to get his trailer back.
Yes, he is, Laurel. The theft happened Sunday at the Home Depot parking lot at Mall 205 in Portland. Christopher Hedgecock says he's had the trailer for 16 years and he's on a fixed income and can't afford another one. Now, that theft happened Sunday afternoon. Hedgecock went in to buy more supplies to fix the trailer up, and when he came out, the trailer was gone. He's had the trailer 16 years, like I said, and he's a single dad and suffers from depression and anxieties from his time in the military. Now, he lives off disability, and he uses the trailer for everything from taking trash to the dump and decluttering his house. He says he called the police and filed a report. Now he's waiting to see if the trailer turns up, but he's not too sure he'll ever see it again.
I've been so emotional. I feel silly for, being upset and crying over a trailer, but it makes it hard to go outside and just go do normal day-to-day activities because now I have to think about, well, are they going to steal my car next?
Christopher says a new trailer could cost anywhere from $1,400 to $1,600, and it would take him about 2 years to save up for another one. And he's offering a $200 reward for anyone who finds the trailer. He was going to use that money for more upgrades to the trailer. So we'll post an email on our website, kgw.com, if anyone has any information. Laurel.
We sure hope he gets that trailer back. Thank you, Bryant. State lawmakers returned to Salem today for Oregon's short legislative session. Priorities include affordable housing, tax cuts, and limiting the emergency power of the governor, among other topics. Thanks to strong tax revenue and federal support, lawmakers will have about $2 billion to spend. The short session only lasts 35 days. Some protesters also showed up today to greet lawmakers. Some were demanding to get into the Capitol building without masks on. The Three Sisters are a huge attraction in Central Oregon, but all eyes lately have been on South Sister. That's because researchers have discovered it's growing. KGW's Joe Ranieri explains how much it's growing and if we should be concerned.
The Pacific Northwest is surrounded by beauty, especially with our towering volcanic mountains. And they've been known to make a little noise now and then. That's what's happening in the Three Sisters area in Central Oregon.
This area that's uplifting is just to the west of the South Sister.
About 3 miles west of South Sister is where scientists have been noticing some small growth.
There were some satellite images that had been taken of the Three Sisters area. And these are satellite images that were done using radar technology, radar imagery from a satellite.
What those images found were signs of uplift in a 12-mile diameter area.
This is the kind of activity that's probably been going on in that region for centuries or millennia. And only now do we have the technologies that actually allow us to be able to detect this.
But recently they have seen some changes. From June of 2020 to August of last year, this area had seen some small uplift taking place. They also started noticing small, shallow earthquakes.
In October and December and January, this past January, we had some really, really tiny earthquakes in the area. In fact, they were so tiny that they largely registered barely on one of the seismometers.
John Major, who's the scientist in charge at the Cascades Volcano Observatory, says there is a reason why the bulge is slowly growing.
This is probably related to inputs of magma at depth, something on the order of 4 miles below the surface of the ground.
Major says this is the same area they have been studying since the late 90s.
The total amount of uplift since the late 1990s is maybe about 1 foot over this 12-mile diameter area.
And from the summer of 2020 to last summer, it grew just under 1 inch. While there is no cause for concern,
There's no indication that an eruption is imminent.
the mountain is still going to be watched very closely. Joe Ranieri, KGW News.